Greetings, and welcome to Odoo 12 Essentials, Learn the CRM Application. I'm your instructor, Greg Moss. In this lecture, we're going to begin by setting up the database and installing the Odoo 12 CRM application. Now, I'm going to start off by showing you a little shortcut you can use if you don't have Odoo 12 already installed. You might be able to come here to runbot.odoo.com, so you just come up here. You don't need that on there to get there. Just runbot.odoo.com, and it'll bring up all the active branches, and you can see that we have branch 12 down here for Odoo 12, and you can come right in here and just connect to this branch. You can also come over here and say connect, and what we want to do is connect to the base. So I'm going to click connect base here, and you'll see just like that we're logged in to a base Odoo installation, and we can install the CRM application right there. Now, if you come and log in through the quick connect, it's going to force you to provide a login and password. So let me show you that real quick. That if you come over here and click quick connect, it's going to bring up a login that lets you pick whether you want all the applications or just the base application. So if we do it this way, then we have to put admin in here and admin in here, and this will log you in the same way to the base. And at this point, you can install the CRM application. It's possible someone else has come in here and set up an application or done something with it. That one happens to be taken up and someone's already installed CRM. You could come over here to this one, you can come to this one, you could come to this one. So every fix, it's creating a new instance here, so you can use these to test out some ideas without installing Odoo yourself. So we're going to assume, however, that you do have a working installation of Odoo 12 Community, and right here I have a create database form up, and I filled in a database name, the email, which doesn't have to be an email, just has to be a valid username. We have our password provided. I've set the language to English, and I've provided the country as United States. For this example, I'm not setting the demo data because we're going to use our own example here. So I'm going to go ahead and click continue. So once the database is set up, it might ask you to log in. When you set up a new database, you would just put in your login and password and come here. So now we just want to install the CRM application by clicking install here. Once the CRM application is installed, it's going to bring you to the discuss area here. I guess you could call it the discuss application. That's installed pretty much with any application that you install. And so we're ready to run. So we got the database installed. We have the CRM application set up. In the next lecture, we'll actually start seeing how we can set up a CRM discussion group here and start learning the CRM application. Greetings and welcome back. In the previous lecture, we set up our Odoo database and we installed the Odoo 12 CRM application. Now that it's installed, we're going to start working through our options and seeing how we can set up a CRM pipeline and a discussion group and those kind of things. So like other Odoo class videos, we really try to use real world examples, and in this example, we're taking a marine dealership or a boat dealership that sells boats, and also maybe rent slips to store the boats in, as well as repairs and warranty work. So it gives us a variety of activities and tasks that we can use when working with customers. And so we're going to begin with what would be a very common activity and probably the lifeblood of a boat dealership, and that's selling boats. So one of the things that you can see here we get dumped off in when we install an application is this discussion area, and I'm going to go ahead and go over this because it can be very valuable to use this tool when integrating with the CRM application. So you might get a little tool tip here on yours that will tell you that you have these channels here you can have discussions in, and one of the things we can do when we're setting up a new application and we're introducing it to new users and we're trying to get them involved is to go ahead and create a discussion group for that channel. So I'm going to go ahead and create a channel here for CRM. I'm going to type CRM just like that and hit create. And this will create a channel here where we can discuss CRM activities. So I'm going to come down here where we can write and say, this channel will be used to discuss CRM training and opportunities we wish to track and follow. So it's basically a channel that we've created that as we are introducing users and training our salespeople how to use the CRM application, we have a centralized place to discuss those things. And if we chose, we could take this and make it a favorite, and this will star up here. And they call it to do here, mark as to do, which puts it up in here in the star area. I don't know why they don't call this to do, if that's what it is when it's over here and you click it. But this just basically puts it up here so you can keep things that are important that you're trying to keep on a to-do list and put them up here. And of course you can just uncheck it and it drops off, and then of course it's going to be down here again. So we'll look a little bit more at this discuss application as we're moving through Odoo Essentials, but that gives you a good starting point, and you can see how we can have a centralized discussion group here. So the real reason we're here is to create CRM opportunities, and that's the core of Odoo's CRM application. It's a rather simple application. It's not like Salesforce or Goldmine where you have a whole lot of options. It's simple, but it's powerful, and for most small to mid-sized companies, there's a lot you can do with Odoo CRM system. So we can come up here to our application menu and choose CRM. And here you'll see that we have a pipeline with different stages. These are the stages here: new, qualified, proposition, and one. And the idea is when we create a new opportunity, they're going to start over here in the new stage, and as they work through our sales cycle and through the pipeline, they're going to move through the stages from left to right until hopefully you've won the opportunity. So let's see how we would create an opportunity for someone wishing to buy a new boat. So I can come up here and click create, and for this opportunity we'll say interested in a new boat. And for our customer, we're going to say Bob Sacramento. And you'll notice one of the things here is I'm typing in Odoo 12 that it's actually going out on the internet and searching for websites and contacts that will match. This could be particularly useful if you work with companies, like a business-to-business type thing, because you have all these available. But for right now, we're going to just assume this is just someone wishing to buy a boat, and so I select them like that. And notice once I've typed the customer in, they've actually been added already, but all we have to do is provide a name. We then over here on the right have a link that we can use to pull the customer up. For right now we'll ignore this, but just keep it in mind if you needed to add more customer information right here, you could. And then we have an expected revenue. Part of the core component of Odoo's CRM system is tracking expected revenue through the stages. And so this would be our final expected revenue we wish to get. And you would have to determine as a company whether or not you wanted perhaps your expected revenue in terms of gross profit that you might get, or whether it would actually be the revenue by definition would be the full sale. So in this case, we're going to use the full sale price and say it's an $80,000 boat. That's about what their market is for their new boat. And we can then just come down here and click add. Now, wait, before I do that, there is a urgency or how important you believe this opportunity is. And so you can say it's medium importance, high importance, or very high. There is no low. We start at medium. So we can just say that this is high importance. It's a pretty good chunk of money right there. So when I click add, we can see that right down here the opportunity shows up in our new column, and it gives us another opportunity to enter an opportunity. In other words, it keeps up the create until we're done with it, and we can just click off and it'll go away. So at that point we have our opportunity, and it's here in the new column. Using the drag and drop, we can just move it just like this over to qualified. And we would move this opportunity into qualified typically once we've made sure that this is a customer that's genuinely interested in buying a boat. Perhaps you get a lot of people calling wanting services, and they may not have the money, they may not really have the interest, they may be just calling a lot of different companies, just trying to get pricing. They might even be doing a research project and they are not real serious in buying. So that's this qualification step, and it's pretty common in most CRM pipelines. So let's assume that you've got this buyer, this opportunity in the qualified stage. Typically what would come next is setting up some kind of activity that you can use to either contact them, or maybe you need to find out more information on your end. There's some kind of action you need to do. Another core part of a CRM system is making sure you're setting up actions. So in this case, this activity icon right here, it doesn't give us any tooltips when we go over it looks like, but we can schedule an activity by clicking this. And you'll see here that it says there are no activities planned and that we can schedule an activity. So let's schedule an activity to follow up on this opportunity. So let's say that what we want to do is make a phone call to our customer to discuss their options in more detail. So I'm going to come up here. I'm going to choose call as the activity. I'm going to say discuss boat options in more detail. And down here you have a rich text area that you can put whatever you want in here. So you have over here styles that you can provide. So you could even have a header here and say this is a big header. Oh, I guess you have to select it first like that. And you can format this any way you want. And obviously I'm not going to take time to show you how all of these tools work, but this is just basically a standard text editor that lets you format this activity in any way you want. And at this point you can just click schedule. You could mark it as done, which would basically almost be like scheduling it and then just marking it as done. You can say that you're done with it and schedule another item. So this would be useful if you're trying to document what has already happened. And then finally you can discard. We're just going to take the blue option here, which is the one that is the default, and hit schedule. And you can see that once we do that, that this turns green to show that you have this fully planned. So this bar is going to fill up to show the percentage of activities you have. If I create another opportunity, another customer wants a boat, and I'll just call this guy Jim, and we'll fill in 25,000. Maybe he doesn't want as expensive a boat. We'll give it a little less priority and add that if I drag over here, you'll see that it cuts it in half. And it's in half because we have an activity scheduled for Bob, but we don't have an activity scheduled for Jim. So at that point, let's go ahead and say we're going to make the phone call. So we can click here and click on this item here to start making the call. Like that brings it up, and then that way we can mark it as done. Or you can directly mark it as done by clicking over here. And so let's say we've made the call, and so we click our done button, that it brings up a little area right here that we can start typing what happened during the call. We can say interested in a 27-foot bow rider, wants it in red or maroon. And you could have as much detail as you want here. And at this point, you can say done and schedule next. And in fact, if you're setting up a CRM pipeline and you're training salespeople, this is the option you're usually going to want, because when you're done with this one activity, unless you're done with it like altogether and either the opportunity is lost or the opportunity is won, you want to plan another activity. So let's, in this case, say that we want to schedule a sit-down meeting in order to discuss the boat that we've selected, their after we've gotten their options. So basically what's happened is we've had a call, we've gone over what they want. Now we're going to have to take some steps. So let's go ahead and say done and schedule next. And for our activity, let's make a to-do, and we'll say research best boat options for the customer. So this would be a stage that we're going to do internally. And let's go ahead and schedule that activity just like that. And as we can see, if we come here, we got another scheduled activity that if we come down after clicking on it, we can see that we have inside of the activity or the opportunity itself, the planned activities listed here. So you're seeing the planned activity listed in several places. You're seeing it in the pipeline by this green indicator here. You're going to be able to see it also in the opportunity itself under planned activities, and in addition up here in the top under conversation, you're going to see as times get close, depending upon what the activity is, it's not time for it yet, it'll appear up here as well. So I'm going to wrap this lecture up. We've gotten to see how to create an opportunity, and we've also gotten to see how to schedule activities for that opportunity and move them through stages in the Odoo pipeline. In the next lecture, we're going to take a little bit more of a look at Odoo's activity log down here at the bottom and how that can integrate with our channels and use us to better communicate with our team members.